What's up, everybody? Name's Karen Fonseca, the Fonzie 4, and I'm here to talk about the WWE Draft Night 2. But I'll be doing an overview of Night 1 and Night 2 of the draft and basically giving you all my overall opinions. And yeah, this year's draft, just like the years before, have been absolutely garbage. WWE really doesn't put much thought into these drafts. They don't have any long term plans for these drafts, and some of these picks don't make any sense. Why I'm just gonna go over my overview thoughts about the draft, especially some of these championship moves. I don't understand why are the champions moving, being drafted during the draft. I mean, if you have a Raw championship, you should go to Raw. I we'll go into it. Okay, first off, Raw Women's Champion Raw Women's Champion Rhea Ripley has been drafted to Monday Night Raw. Now, if I heard correctly, this forum says she's a Raw Women's Champion, but no, she's the SmackDown Women's Champion. So why didn't she draft to Raw and Bianca Belair drafted to and she drafted to SmackDown and Bianca drafted to Raw? Since Rhea is the SmackDown Women's Champion, I don't understand why they're doing that. Now, there are a couple ways they can change this up. Bianca Belair could drop the title to Io, and Rhea could drop the title to Selena Vega, but that seems stupid. What has Selena Vega done to earn a championship opportunity? I mean, the booking towards the match between Rhea and Selena Vega has been absolute garbage. We've really had no build, no setup, nothing. No per no beef between each other besides the just Judgment's A and LWO stuff. So they're basically booking it just like every other faction group they do, where everyone else's side feuds between each other are just afterthoughts, but it's just about the main guys. I don't get that. Or they could do the worst thing possible and have them switch the belts, swap the belts back and forth between each other. That pretty much kills the idea of the women's championship. So I don't understand these picks with the women's champion. Why are Bianca and Rhea even being drafted? They should just go to their respective brands because of their main championship. They should not be drafted at all. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, next up, United States Champion Austin Theory goes to SmackDown. All right, it makes sense because Gunther's on Raw. Makes sense that Theory going over SmackDown. He's got a plethora of opponents like LA Knight and a couple other guys out there like the Brawling Bruce. Got Sheamus. So a couple of guys that he can work down there to give him a fresh start. So cool with that. Next up to Raw, Seth Rollins. Makes sense. The World Championships over there, so it gives Rollins an opportunity to fight for that world title away from Rollins, so he doesn't have to lose and get fed to him too early. Same thing with Shinsuke Nakamura. You don't want them to lose to Roman immediately, especially when they're both just coming up or just red hot right now. So, and plus Becky Lynch is on Raw, so they're gonna keep the couples together. Next is Charlotte Flair. Moved to SmackDown. Don't really care. Charlotte Flair, not that much of a big fan of hers. She's a good wrestler when she wants to be, but her selling is just, yeah, it doesn't really try in the ring that much. So yeah, don't really care overall where she goes that much. But yeah, Undisputed KO, the Unified Tag Team Champions going over Raw. This one doesn't make any sense whatsoever. They're the Unified Champions. They should go to between both brands. Number one, you don't have enough do tag teams to have one title on one brand, the other one on the other one. And for those of you who disagree with me, WWE has done this plenty of times where they had one separate championship for each brand, and guess what? We got repetitive matches out the wazoo. Okay? And if they do have separate titles, they're just gonna give a bunch of random bums who haven't earned a championship opportunity a championship title match for the titles, so that way they can have a justified reason to so that way they can spread the reeks out and get these championship title matches for no reason. I mean, for Christ's sakes, they're even thinking about bringing back brand exclusive pay per views. Now, they're not a bad idea in theory, but WWE rarely ever executes these ideas very, very well. These brand exclusive pay per views are usually just glorified SmackDown act down matches and Monday Night Raw, all Raw nights that we should be getting on a week to week basis, but don't because the WWE for some reason doesn't want to do that. But yeah, they should be splitting between brands so that way matches can feel fresh and don't get repetitive. But I understand the whole point of the brand split, but it doesn't make any sense. So are Sami Zayn and KO just gonna defend their titles on Raw and not SmackDown as well? They're not gonna do that. That wouldn't make a lot of sense unless they plan on splitting their belts up. It's up. If they are, they should have established that and made that a rule before doing the draft. But WWE didn't think this through. They didn't establish these rules beforehand with the draft. They should have, but they didn't. That's what happens when you don't think long term. Usos to SmackDown, continue the storyline of the Bloodline, makes sense. Judgment Day to Raw, makes sense. But how are these factions gonna work, especially with the tag team championships? I mean, does that mean whenever Sami Zayn and KO are in a feud with, I don't know, LWO, are they gonna be allowed to go to SmackDown to feud with them, or is it staying on one, or is it staying on Raw and defending them there? Are we getting another tournament to crown SmackDown Tag Team Champions? If that's the case, why aren't they announcing this before the draft to clarify this? Because none of this makes any sense. But they're probably thinking about this last minute because, yeah, this is WWE. Not surprising. LWO to SmackDown. Women's Tag Team Champions Liv Morgan, Raquel Gonzalez going to Raw. These women should not be drafted to one single brand because you have tag team champions. The women's tag team champions should be floating just like the unified men's championship. Men's tag team championship should also be floating between brands because you don't have enough tag teams for one exclusive brand, especially for the women. There's like 3 to 4 teams overall on the main roster. That is nowhere near enough for a division. Even with the 2 NXT female tag teams calls up, so that's still nowhere near enough. That's like 6. That's not enough teams for a whole brand, especially throughout the year. The only way they're gonna spread these out is by giving us singles matches each week leading up to the brand exclusive pay per view, which WWE loves to do because their booking is lazy as usual. Asuka to SmackDown. Again, this depends on what they do, but poor Asuka. Did you hear about that story, about that rumor about they're gonna have her be a third wheel to a lesbian angle between Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose for some reason? Oh, poor Asuka. New Day to Raw. They've been in the draft for so long, it's hard to care where they go to, but yeah. I still love the New Day, but yeah. It's just that. Brawling Brutes to SmackDown. Again, how are the tag team championships going to go? How is that going to go? If the titles are really going to be floating, then why draft them anyway? How are this WWE never really explains how factions are going to work in the WWE draft, so we're left confused. Can they go for main championships? Can they go for tag team championships, especially if they're floating? Are they allowed to switch brands? Are they allowed to come over to Raw or SmackDown? What am I talking about? They're gonna break the rules at least after 6 weeks of this draft is going on. They're gonna be switching between brands anyway, so it doesn't matter. Trish Stratus to Raw. I don't know why she's not a free agent. Everybody knows that she can't go for very long. I don't see why she doesn't just get the free agent treatment just like Brock Lesnar. She won't be able to do much at all since she's a legend and won't be able to go much longer. So it's best to have her free agents to let her do what she wants to. But we'll see what she can do. We'll see if she can hold up. Karrion Cross and Scarlett to SmackDown. Don't know why this was made. I thought he was gonna go to Raw so that way he could be an avid contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. But no, he's going to Raw, which means his best hope is the United States Championship, and that's basically a sin because he's not beating Roman, especially since he's a heel. And I thought he was also going to Raw as to continue his feud with Shinsuke, but I guess they're dropping that too. Same thing with the Brawling Brutes. I guess Sheamus's chances of beating Gunther for the Intercontinental Championships are long gone now. Now, my best guess is possibly LWO versus Imperium. Shayna Baszler, Ronda Rousey to Raw. Since they're drafted as a tag team, I'm guessing they're going to win the Women's Tag Team Championships, which at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Those titles mean nothing. The Women's Tag Team Championships mean nothing. The overall Women's Tag Team division means nothing because there's barely any teams. There's no division at all. It's literally 4 female tag teams. Half of them aren't even really a tag team. They're just women thrown together just to make up a makeshift tag team whatsoever with no rhyme, real reason, or purpose at all. WWE should just get rid of the Women's Tag Team Championships on both NXT and the main roster and give them a mid-card belt. That would be much more beneficial for the women's division than tag team championship belts, but yeah, WWE doesn't care about that. LA Knight to SmackDown. He'll do pretty well on there. He's got Austin Theory to contend with, even though it's kind of a heel, so I don't know how that's gonna work out for him. But overall, like LA Knight, he'll be good. Braun Strowman and Ricochet to Raw. Why are they a tag team? Still don't know. Still not no answers. But freak it. I don't see why tag teams are being drafted since you don't have enough for both brands. But whatever. Because at the end, especially with the whole thing about it doesn't matter. They don't care. And I see Viking Raiders haven't been drafted. Unless they have, I forgot. Who knows? Who cares? They're bums at this point. WWE booked them as bums anyway. They got their butts kicked by OC even after they're the ones who initiate the fight. So they're nothing more than fodder. So who cares about them? Who cares about the Viking Raiders? Shotzi goes to SmackDown. I completely thought she was released. Didn't know she was still on the roster. Haven't seen her for months. Didn't even know she was still employed. I see Vince just need a body for this draft and just put her on there because why not? Bronson Reed to Raw. Okay, I could see that. A lot of opportunities over there. Opportunities for him to spread his wings and be contender for the WWE World Championship on the roster. So yeah, pretty good. Pretty deadly to SmackDown. I like these guys' gimmick, the whole flamboyant gimmick. They could be something good. They could do something independent. They could do something and be at a help for the tag team division on the main roster, which is absolutely atrocious. And yes, it is atrocious. Just because Sami Zayn and the Bloodline are having an interesting story does not mean the overall tag team division is good. One storyline, one 5 to 15 minute segment on a 3-hour show to 2-hour show does not constitute as a good show. Stop giving WWE credit for doing barely any work, okay? Stop it. But yeah, pretty deadly. Hoping to see what they do on the main roster. I figured they'd stay in NXT a little longer to cook, but we'll see. Otis and Chad Gable to Raw. Let's see if they do anything with them. Only one can help. Only one can hope. But their act is pretty cool. I love Chad Gable. Fantastic wrestler. Otis is funny as hell. Just hope WWE gives him more spotlight. Gives him at least some spotlight. Rick Booz, still in catering, still in purgatory. Yeah, wow, he's just gonna be fodder on SmackDown Live. Caitlyn Chance, Kaden Carter. Again, so basically, whatever happens in NXT, the NXT Women's Championship, Tag Team Championship is going to the main roster. That makes no sense. It's going to be overcrowded. You already don't have enough championships for the women, and now you're adding more. You don't have, and now it's It's just gonna make even less sense when you add those NXT championship belts to the main roster. You can't have them floating between brands because that kills the whole point of the brand split. And last but not least, Cameron Grimes to SmackDown. Love Cameron Grimes. Thinks he's cool. I think he's cool. I like his act. He's very funny and pro wrestler, so I'm cool with that. And Brock Lesnar's a free agent. Kind of expected that. Just like always, Brock's a free agent, so he can do whatever he wants to. Don't understand why they didn't give that Trish Stratus, but oh well. And then they also did a draft for the rest of the wrestlers on a on SmackDown or the Raw after show, which basically means the rest of these picks are just afterthoughts and nobody cares about it. And these are going to be Vince McMahon's catering crew, basically. So yeah, overall, this draft did not make any sense. There's a lot of logic holes and loopholes with this draft that don't make any sense at all. How the tag team championship's gonna work? How the women's championship's gonna work? How the NXT Women's Championships gonna roll? How's the brand switching? All that stuff. All that stuff wasn't answered on the show, and none of it makes sense. And of course, we barely got any build to Backlash at all, because again, it's Backlash. Nobody cares about Backlash at all. And this Brock and Cody Rhodes feud is basically just a holdover to give him some more adversity, to give him his consolation prize. This new WWE Championship prize is a new consolation prize for Cody to get. Yeah, since he can't beat Roman. But hey, who knows? Maybe they might give it to Seth Rollins, the one who should be holding the title. But we'll just see. But overall, as usual, every year WWE does this, the draft means nothing. And once we get to Survivor Series, this draft is still not going to mean anything. It's going to be completely pointless, especially with no GMs. Then what's the point? Once we get those 5-on-5 Survivor Series matchups, what is the point? What are the stakes? What happens to the winners of the brand? What do the winners of those brands get? They get nothing. None of the winners get anything. After it's over, they go right back to what they usually do. Survivor Series never means anything. It's pointless. It's just a bunch of fantasy matches put together because why not? Because I love tickling the nostalgia factor. But yeah, it doesn't mean anything. I wish WWE would just try and put some effort in these pay per views, but they never do. Anyway, that's my final thoughts about that. Let me guys know. Tell me what you guys think about it. Like, comment, subscribe, and share in the comment sections, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks. Peace.